Hi, everybody. This is Austin. This is Fantasy Baseball on Deck, and I've got a couple crazy things to share. Number one is soft launch opening day, 8 days away. It's currently March 12th. It's 3:30 a.m. because I don't know how to do these videos in any other normal part of the day. So it's always early in the morning. You guys always get me a little in a little spastic phase because I'm hyped up on caffeine and I haven't slept a whole lot. But this is when we have time to do this stuff. So 8 days, San Diego Padres, Los Angeles Dodgers. Once again, if you've never been here before, Fantasy Baseball on Deck, what I pride myself on is, not going over 1,000 topics in a short period of time, but really like focusing on what I think is super important and valuable to the crowd, and also sharing it in a way that I think is easily digestible using kind of universal concepts that we can all sort of use to differentiate and sort of analyze together. So, when we're not together and you're making your own decisions with your own teams, drafting, adjusting your rosters, whatever, you can always come to a more confident decision because we're really focusing on those independent variables that are so often ignored in fantasy baseball analysis. So the other bit of information, this is our third year doing this. I think I don't know if I already said that or not. I've done these videos a couple times and aired, but we'll stick with this one. Third year of Fantasy Baseball on Deck, and that's just super cool. First, just wanted to say that I am super appreciative of everyone who supports me for this, this platform. I started Fantasy Baseball on Deck just because I didn't have anyone really in my life that I could talk baseball with. And it's my favorite sport, and it just seemed like it was dying every day. And I felt like I had to do something to maybe engage others that cared about it as much as I do, but do it kind of in my own way and see how I would fare. And though I don't have a ton of followers, the followers I do have are they're small but mighty. Man, you guys are just super uplifting, and have even gotten me through some pretty hard times when life itself of non-baseball things hit. I know that there's a group of complete strangers from all over the world that have my back and really love me for who I am. This goofy, energetic guy who doesn't really fit into society in every way all the time. I always feel like I fit in here, and that's priceless, right? So. Again, thank you so much for supporting me, and let's get into it. So, as I kind of mentioned before, fantasy baseball analysis across my time has always been, I just feel like, super surface level. They're touching on 1,000 things, 1,000 segments in an hour, and there's just not a whole lot of opportunity to really explain your thoughts on why you think the way that you do. Everyone has an opinion, but no one really explains to you why their opinion is the way that it is. Back to by data sort of thing. It's I think that this player is going to be good because they're hitting at this part of the batting order and they have a contract year and they are always motivated to do that. That just doesn't tell me anything, right? So what I wanted to do with Fantasy Baseball on Deck is not necessarily get on here and speak a bunch of opinions like everyone else. That wouldn't make me any different from the guys that have all these followings. Anyways, I wanted to provide a for free upfront value offering to you all, and that seems to have really gone a long way. So given that we're looking at my front page, if you go to my YouTube page, obviously click on my profile, you can see that. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Sorry guys. Oh, one more link. If you click on the one more link, this gets you to the free fantasy baseball cheat sheet that I created. That's been on since it's the same URL. Yeah, it's the same website address as I had in 2022, 2023, now 2024. It's just the updated information. So feel free to again access this link either in the comments or link, obviously via my my profile. And then it has to do with Twitter. Don't really use Twitter a whole lot for this account, but it is probably the better option to get a hold of me with that individual questions. And I try to answer as many individual questions as I can. And I've even done phone calls with people to sort of help them out because again, you guys are the reason I do this. You guys make it fun. That's kind of the whole reason I'm here. So I just think it's fun to sort of like look back the how-to fantasy baseball basics. So I'm going to teach you guys in the next 2 videos, basically how I evaluate batters and evaluate pitchers to go along with my cheat sheet. So on my cheat sheet, I'm going to have all these players highlighted in different colors with explanations of why I think they're going to succeed or not necessarily thrive. And that's all backed by these evaluations of the batters and evaluations of the pitchers within the same document in different tabs. So they kind of like all cross-reference and connect to each other. And I'm going to show you kind of how I go about that so you can see exactly what my reasoning is and why my reasoning is. But first off, my first ever video, kind of why I want to show like the value of like this cheat sheet is in 2022, I created a YouTube channel. All I did was essentially create a free fantasy cheat sheet with all of my information included on it and paired it next to ESPN's like live draft. And I did a mock draft and showed you all how you can use this sheet to make more confident decisions essentially. And that was this video with Jose Ramirez and Julio Urias. And if I go over here, first ever video posted to you all, we were at 3,000 views, 715 hours of watch time without any followers at all. I thought that was crazy. And then just over the last 2 seasons, going into our 3rd season, 20,000 views and 2.6 thousand hours of watch time that you guys have supported me, and a billion comments along the way that have all been awesome and really engaging. So if you have a second, I would love to know in the comment section, where are you from? What year did you start watching Fantasy Baseball on Deck? And then, or what have been the most valuable things to you that I've like talked about so far, kind of what parts of the show have been valuable. And then also like, if there's any way I can improve, I would love to know that as well. So again, if you can like comment in any way, that would be awesome. And obviously like and subscribe is the best way to support. So what I would see and what you see kind of preparing for fantasy baseball drafts, like you can do mock drafts, but like unless you're doing a mock draft, you essentially have 2 dashboards where you can view information. And this one has essentially like what they did, each player did last season. It also shows their projections in 2024 and then gives you like a little bit of an outlook or analysis on like what ESPN thinks they're going to do in this upcoming season. But like you can't copy and paste this in any sort of way that's efficient, separate the information. It's just, it's clunky. You can get their in-depth analysis per player, but there's no way to really like condense it. Right. So then the condensed version shows you a lot less information out of the projections, none of the information from last year. It's just you have the player, the team name, their eligible position, and then like, their ranking across their position, as well as their auction values or projected auction values. And what I did is basically kind of combine the 2. So my draft tool and my value add to you and my gift to you all for free is this Google document. Everyone has access to it to view. You can even copy and paste it into your own Excel document if you wanted to make edits or changes or whatever. But this is essentially what it is. I went through the top 300 players that ESPN has ranked in their top 300 and essentially labeled them, color-coded them, and then gave you an explanation of why I think they are going to or going to not succeed. And to sort of like start out with that, like if we go to red, so red just represents a player, not necessarily a player that I hate, but I don't like the player for how high they're ranked. I don't think that their health history or their outlook is worth the risk. Their product, like the risk isn't worth their productivity potential. So their ceiling value of potential productivity as an individual isn't really worth the risk. Again, given like a couple different factors, their productivity from the year before or what they're being projected to complete this season, I don't think is unsustainable in certain ways. And again, that's kind of in the descriptions. And then also if they're a player, an okay player on a really great team that's kind of sandwiched in between, all-stars at every position, they kind of benefit in that way, then that's kind of like another reason why they would be highlighted red. So then the other is yellow. So going up to yellow. Yellow would be kind of the yeah but category. So yellow is whether their health history, their outlook is a little shaky. They have like similarly talented players at the same positions, but later in the draft. So for an example of that could be like Michael Harris. It's at number 67. There's a lot of outfielders that I think are better and or in better positions to like outproduce Michael Harris, even though he's a high average, 20 plus home run guy. Like I think that there's a lot of outfielders that are going to beat Michael Harris. Therefore, highlighted yellow. He's an okay player. I think that he's going to succeed, but like he's not a differentiator in his position. Therefore, I'm not going to take him. Yellow means I'm most likely, unless they drop super far to me, or they drop in the draft essentially, that I'm not going to draft them. And then, they could be a really good player, but they lack a primetime spot in the batting order. That could be another reason. So on to the next. So Justin Steele, green. So like no bolded anything. This is a player that I'm comfortable and confident with taking at that point in the draft based on their value last year and their potential ceiling value moving forward. So Justin Steele is someone at number 65 that I would be confident in taking. I'm not over the moon, but I'm happy with him if I walked away with him at this point in the draft. The next part or the next section is a green and a bold. So green and bolded, the name itself. So Josh Hader is bolded compared to Justin Steele. Josh Hader, this is like if I bold it, this is a player that I think is significant. Like it's basically like a great value for that point in the draft, or it's like if it's a position scarcity. So up here toward the top, I have Ozzie Albies bolded because there's only 3 second basemen between Mookie Betts, Marcus Semien. I almost said Trevor Semien. That's a football player. Marcus Semien and Ozzie Albies are like going to be guaranteed the top 3 second basemen. There are no other second basemen in all of baseball that are going to even be close. So I'm bolding Ozzie Albies because if you don't grab a second baseman within the first couple of rounds, you basically are going to wait until sort of the very end or towards the tail end to grab one because it's a huge drop off. So like I'm bolding him because again, there's a position scarcity. And then I'm overall just super confident in their productivity. And I think that they're undervalued for where they're ranked in the draft. So that's the green bolded section. And then there's the really special section that is the green bolded. And then in this little sliver, and how I come up with this stuff, I don't know, but this is just the way I've been doing it for a couple of years. Bobby Witt Jr. is bolded green, but also has a cyan highlighted patch over here. That means that I think that they're one of the best values in the draft, and that where they're ranked in the draft is so under what their ceiling potential is and what their expectation is to produce this upcoming year. And again, there's also kind of the idea of some position scarcity as well. But I think that Freddie Freeman and Matt Olson are obviously, they're very different players. They play the same position, but similar with second base. First base this year, I think, is super duper shallow between Freddie Freeman, Matt Olson, and Pete Alonso. If you don't get one of those 3 players, you're kind of out of luck. So therefore, he is, they're bolded and cyan patched, knowing that there's no one else that's going to sort of compete in my head for those top 3 spots. So green, bolded, cyan patch. I think they're non-miss players, super best values for where they're at in the drafts, just so you guys know and as you're going through it. So how this is supposed to work, I guess like we can go over the right side. So the right side is not only do I give you my opinions, a write-up, color coding, whatever, on every single player, I sort of also count like where people are in the draft. So you can sort of in your head sort of forecast what positions to draft as you move through. So in the top 20 picks, I play in 2 10-man leagues. So in the top 20 picks, I know I'm going to select 2 players, no matter where I'm like staggered in the draft. And I'm going to give you the amount of players that I like within that top 20. I'm going to give you kind of the strategy of like what 2 positions you're going to want to sort of focus on. And then a list of like, of who's available. This is the order in which I would take them, kind of thing. So just for example, again, 1 through 20, I would either go first baseman, Shohei Ohtani in your DH spot, or a starting pitcher. And if I had the options of, say, if I was like the number 2 pick in the draft, Acuna goes number 1, Strider would be my next my option. I would just take Strider off the board because I think he's going to be by far and away the number 1 pitcher in fantasy baseball, as well as the fact that Garrett Cole got hurt today. So I would take Strider, and then knowing that like I'm coming back around, I would hope that Ohtani, Olsen, Witt Jr., Bobby Witt Jr., Aaron Judge, or Corbin Carroll would be around for that second pick. So that's kind of my guy, like my recommendations to you guys. So sort of like how you stagger your selections. So I have descriptions for each of these rounds, every 20 picks down the way. And I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but you can sort of see what positions run out super quickly. And again, you can see like second baseman, there's 1 here, there's 2, there's 3 second basemen, and you got to wait all the way till between 80 and 100. There's 1 second baseman that I like. And then you go down to 140, 160. There's 1. 200 through 220, there's 1 second baseman. So it's just super shallow. And the entire fantasy baseball offering, if there's 10 teams, 10 of them have to have second baseman, and there's only 7 of them that I have labeled as green, sort of thing. So like it just sort of gives you a forecast of what's coming in the future. Paired with, if you're actually like, this is meant to be used alongside you drafting. So this is how I actually draft every year. So that's the least stressful, day of the year, essentially. So this is just like a screenshot that I found on the internet. But as you're going through your draft, you're scrolling through, you're queuing players. The whole point of why I put this together is that if Austin Riley is number 38 on this sheet, you're looking over here and queuing Austin Riley in your downtime onto your sheet, essentially like in that same order, so that if your game plan sort of, if you get thrown a curveball and all of a sudden, Austin Riley, who's like someone that you love, falls off your draft sheet, you have in your queue that you can go and sort of like filter down to third baseman. If you absolutely felt like in your heart that you needed a third baseman at that point, well, you could do that, but also realize that you're going to, if Austin Riley jumps off the board, now you're on the clock, you can scroll down really quickly and see that Manny Machado is down at 54, and that he's going to, I think that he's going to have a bounce back, healthier year. He had a heel issue, but you can immediately reason with yourself that, okay, Austin Riley's off the board, but I know that Manny Machado is already there. Skip down to it, select them, and you're done for that round. And then you just continue to go through the list and just continue to queue players so that you're always super prepared. You always have a game plan. And overall, you're not making rush decisions when the clock comes to you. So that's the that's the proposed value of my my draft strategy, my draft sheet. It's the same thing I've done for 3 years now. I've had over 1,000 people access this draft sheet. I have lots of people that have reached out and said that they won their leagues because, they started out the year so hot because they used my draft sheet. They started out well, and then that carried them through the year. That makes me super happy. That's the whole point of the show, right? So on top of that, the only thing else that I wanted to mention is that because there's been so much success across the people that support me, I've had so many people reach out and tell me that they would happily give me money for this sheet. I offer it for free for a reason. The value offering is that I do it for fun, and I do it to communicate and to connect with you all. But also, it's gotten to a point where everyone's offering me money. I have, not everyone, but a lot of people have offered me money, and I've rejected it at each time. at this point, I spend so much time doing this. If you are dead set on sending me a couple bucks, if you wanted to donate a couple of bucks because you did so well in the past, or if it makes you feel comfortable sort of using the tool, I want you to use the tool. You're welcome to send a couple of bucks to Venmo. Please don't send a large amount of money. But like, if you send a couple bucks to my Venmo, that would be much appreciated. I put a lot of time into this, but again, that's not required. The only form of payment that I would love, that I've always expected, or at least hope to expect, is a follow, a subscription, liking my videos, and leaving meaningful comments within the videos so that I can make a more valuable and engaging experience for you and I and everyone else. And that's the only thing else I think I had left for this. And obviously I've got kind of like very basic rules to live by for starting pitchers, and then also batters and kind of how to evaluate those moving forward. But like my next 2 videos I'm going to go through is how to evaluate batters and how to evaluate starting pitchers. So that will be in the upcoming video. So look for that. And then to finish out, why would you trust me? Why use my fantasy baseball tool? I just feel like it's important to sort of go over my history. So, and I play across 4 different fantasy baseball leagues. They're all kind of different in their own ways. The first 2 are pretty similar. So and they're all for money as well. So my first fantasy baseball league, just kind of the history of it, at least what I have so far. I am Freddie Krueger. So in 2023, I won the championship. 2022, I won the championship. 2021, decimated with injuries. Call Sucks is not me. That's one of my best friend. Call is my last name. But then going back to 2020 is Harrison Ford and Juan Soto. That's my team as well. So second place. So second place, and then 2 first place finishes over the last 4 years in that one league. And before, not going into a ton of it, my goal is always to get you guys to a point where you're scoring more points than anyone else. I can't guarantee you're going to win the championship, but you're going to score more points than anyone else, because we're going to focus on the factors, on the stats that mean the most individually per player. So if I go to get points for, I was number 1. If I go to total bases, I was number 1. Total bases, the individual best value to measure per batter. If I go to stolen bases, I was number 2. So I'm just going to make sure that I have a dynamic team. My 2 individual stats that I'm focusing on, again, are total bases, stolen bases. And then if I go to pitching, my innings pitched every year, I'm going to be number 1 by a lot. And then alongside with that, I'm going to have a lot more strikeouts than innings pitched. And then by chance, I'm always going to have a decent amount of wins that comes along with that, just because that's the way that it works. So win is a dependent stat, but innings pitched and strikeouts are the most important with pitching. So that's one league. If I go to another league, so the one before is pretty standard scoring. This league has a bunch of weird bonuses and things, so you use that to your advantage. In 2023, I was the champion. I'm .call. In 2022, I was in second place, and then 2023, we're on Yahoo, and I actually won that league a couple different times as well, but I don't want to bore you guys with that stuff. But again, to go over to my statistics, like for this league, just focusing on the things that I can control and sort of setting myself up for success in that way when that loads. So number 1, and then if I'm going to focus on like home runs is like this is the most independent stat that I can find in this league particularly. I was number 3 in home runs, and then making sure that I have both a hitter friendly and fast team. I was second in stolen bases. And then again, if I go over to innings pitched, my computer's being slow, but it will work with me eventually, I think. Okay, so if I go to innings pitched, it's the same thing first. And if I go to strikeouts first, and then alongside that, just because I am kicking butt at both of those things, that's also in good standing. And then if you guys are dynasty players, I kind of base a lot of my, player evaluations and my forward thinking pickups based on what I'm learning through my CBS team with my brother. And since we joined this league, I think it's like $150, $200 per year buy-in. Since 2020, we won the championship the first year, and then has finished second each year after that. So championship, second place. So pretty excited about like that overall. And then last year, finally to wrap this up, 24 minutes. I think that's like pretty good for what we're used to with Fantasy Baseball on Deck. I entered a writers league that through Fantasy Six Pack that also had Fantasy Alarm, Razzball, like a couple different websites with all baseball writers essentially like contributing on it. And it was there was 132 players. I ended up finishing 52nd overall because I didn't understand how to structure the pitching. I've never played categories before. And I actually maxed out on my pitching available. So I wasn't allowed to earn any points for pitching over the last like month and a half because I maxed out too early. But the thing that I thought was important at least was to make sure that I was at least like maxing out home runs, knowing that when a home run gets hit out of the ballpark, that individual stat we can focus on, that like the run, at least one run and one RBI, two credentials that I'm being judged on is coming along with that. And across 132 people, I managed to come in third with home runs, which overall really helped my score. But again, I didn't understand how to structure the pitching aspect of things. So that's the end of the video, I think, unless I'm completely forgetting something. Again, if you guys have questions, the easiest way to get those questions answered is actually just to DM me on Twitter. Actually turn those notifications on. And Kevin, I'm sorry that I left you on red for so long. Whatever. So again, thank you again for all of the help. Thank you again for all the support. It's a weird channel because it's like, here's all this information I think is really good, but at the same time, you can't really share it with all of your friends because your friends are playing against you. And I get that that's weird, but again, any amount of interaction that you guys can, have with the show to make it more valuable, that makes it all worthwhile. So, the next videos again to come are going to be, using these tabs, how I specifically evaluate and differentiate between batters of differing styles or similar ranking, and then also sort of finding the diamonds in the rough in regards to pitching. So hope that was helpful. Again, the link to this fantasy baseball cheat sheet that I release every year is going to be in the comments, on my homepage, on my Twitter page, everywhere. It's my biggest value add to you to get you, your year started off right. So thank you so much for your time, and happy 2024. Go Red Legs. Bye.